Hi everybody, Hassan Shariq, regulated Canadian immigration consultant. So in today's video, I'm going to share an update, a recent update that has been shared by IRCC. This is about a new policy where open work permit will be allowed to applicants who recently applied for their permanent residence under the TR to PR pathway. For such applicants, there were a lot of other options to extend their current work permits. But in instances, and because this is a big number, where they were not having any other option, so government has come up with a great option of having an open work permit till the time that their PR application gets finalized. So just looking at some of the details, this particular stream of open work permit or category of open work permit recently announced in the morning today, and this will be applicable beginning July 26th. So from July 26th, applicants can apply for this. Right now, they have not provided a lot of details in terms of how the application will be, but this will be available from July 26th. And as I mentioned earlier, that for people who've applied for their PR under the TR to PR pathway, where it was announced in May that they will grant PR to people who are working in Canada on a temporary residence, and there was a list of qualifications for this. So this is specifically for those. Many of such applicants were on a temporary residence, on a work permit of some kind. And because it's a large number, there's a lot of healthcare workers, there's a lot of other essential workers. Some of them might be under a situation where their current work permit is going to expire soon, and they might not have any option to have it extended beyond that. And a PR application can take a while. So rather than putting them in a difficult situation where they had to, work around something to get their current work permits extended or look for a new work permit, government has come up with a policy for an open work permit. So in terms of the qualification for this one-time open work permit, the broad qualifications are as such that you should have successfully submitted an application under one of the new permanent residence pathways stream. So the TR to PR pathway, you should have already submitted. Like once after 26 July, you want to submit your application for this open work permit. At that time, whenever you're submitting your application, your PR application should have been submitted already. You should have held a valid work permit or work authorization to work without a work permit at the time that the permanent residence application was submitted. So at the time of your PR application, you should have held a valid work authorization. You shouldn't have been out of the status. Or you hold a valid work permit that is set to expire within the next 4 months. So this is an important qualification. If it is something other than this, like something beyond this, then you might not be eligible to apply. But let's wait for a little more clarity. But one of the requirement is that your work permit is set to expire within the next 4 months. The next is that you have maintained a temporary resident status or are eligible to restore their status at the time that their open work permit application is submitted. So again, important, as we talked in the second qualification requirement, even at the stage of applying for this work permit, you should have maintained or are eligible for restoration of your status in Canada. You shouldn't be out of your status at the time of open work permit application. Previously, we saw that the qualification was that at the time of your permanent residence application, you should have had a work authorization. So you should be having a work authorization at the time of PR's application submission. And now when you apply for the open work permit, you should have a status in Canada even at that time, or eligible for a restoration of status. You should be in Canada at the time the open work permit application is submitted. So, say for instance, if you had applied for your PR application, but then you moved out to meet family or for some other reason, if you are not in Canada, you cannot apply for this particular open work permit. So, this is a very important piece for those who would who are maybe outside of Canada and would want to avail this opportunity. You need to return back and apply for this work permit. And lastly, you must have met the language requirements of the stream under which you applied for your PR at the time that your PR application was submitted. So this is important in terms first language requirements. So if the PR stream that you applied, it had a language requirement of 5, you should have met that, and the eligibility in terms of the validity of your IELTS or your other language score should have been no less than 2 years at the time of your PR application submission. So you cannot fulfill that requirement later on. So these are some of the requirements, basic qualifications that they provided. More details in terms of the application procedure and other details. These are still awaited, but this is a great opportunity. Just to mention that this work permit will be valid until December 31st, 2020. So those who are applying right now would have about a year and a half on this particular work permit. And this will be a one-time work permit. So anybody who's applying under the TR to PR pathway and they require this open work permit, this will be good enough to cover such a time frame that their PR application will be finalized. And under this open work permit, your spouse, common law partner, and dependent children will be eligible for open work permit as well once you get this particular open work permit. So that's an update that I wanted to share. Good news for a lot of applicants who are in this bit of a difficult situation. If you have any questions about this particular stream, feel free to post your questions in the comment section, and our staff will be more than happy to answer you on that. Do subscribe to our social media platforms, and soon I will be back with some more videos on Canadian immigration. Till that time, take very good care of yourself and your families. Bye bye, and Allah Hafiz.